Just think about this, the book in your hand might have never been written. Or that invention you use every day, right? Well, that's exactly what the Bootstrap Paradox talks about. It suggests that an object or a piece of information can get stuck in a time loop, seemingly creating itself without a beginning. So, what does this imply for time itself? Is it perhaps turning our understanding of time upside down? The Bootstrap Paradox gets its name from the strange impossibility of someone trying to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. So, what is this paradox? It's when an object or information enters a loop in time, becoming both its own cause and effect. This means there's no starting point, no moment of creation. The thing simply exists, looping within that temporal cycle. We're essentially talking about what's called a closed causal loop. An event becomes the result of a preceding event, and then also the cause of a subsequent event, or sometimes even its own cause. This fundamentally shakes our basic assumption that everything must have an origin, doesn't it? But how can something exist without an origin? Let's try to explain with a classic example. Imagine a time traveler from the future appears. They go back in time and give young Beethoven the sheet music for his Fifth Symphony, which he hasn't even composed yet but will later become legendary. Young Beethoven takes these notes, composes the symphony, it's published, and the work becomes a sensation. Years later, the same time traveler takes the notes of this now famous work and brings them back to Beethoven in the past. The question is, who composed this symphony first? No answer, no beginning. The notes were never truly created, they simply circulated within that time loop. Such a loop appears in theoretical physics, especially in the strange spacetime structures like wormholes that Einstein's theory of general relativity opens the door to. But hold on, for such a loop to actually be possible, there's a condition: Russian physicist Igor Dmitrievich Novikov's self-consistency principle. What does this principle state? It says that if an event is part of such a time loop, that loop must be self-consistent. This means that even if you try to go back in time and change something, it wouldn't create a paradox. Why? Because your intervention is already part of history itself. It's the very thing that leads to events unfolding in exactly that way. In short, those notes given to Beethoven don't enable him to create the symphony, they merely ensure the continuation of that infinite loop. The Bootstrap Paradox seems to be in severe conflict with one of our most fundamental laws of physics, the famous principle of causality, which states that every effect has a cause. Just think, can an object or information truly be its own cause, without any external influence? This question has the power to fundamentally shake our worldview of the universe. The possibility of information or an object having no origin, that is, something uncreated yet somehow existing, leads us to question everything we know about the nature of time. Is time truly just a river flowing straight forward? Or does it have a structure that can fold back on itself, forming knots? So, could there be a solution to this puzzling paradox? Some physicists immediately bring up the multiverse theory. According to this theory, when you go back in time and change something, you're not actually disrupting your own timeline. Instead, presto, you're creating a new parallel universe. But in the Bootstrap Paradox, things are a bit different. Here, the information or object seems to be caught in a self-sustaining loop within a single timeline. This makes the multiverse explanation not quite sufficient for this particular paradox. Novikov's self-consistency principle, on the other hand, offers a different perspective. He sees this not as a contradiction, but as a self-contained, perfectly functioning, and unchanging loop, offering a kind of solution. Everything in the loop has been part of that loop from the very beginning. In other words, it's impossible for events to unfold in a different way. But then, could the Bootstrap Paradox be real in real life? With our current understanding of physics, we unfortunately can't give a clear yes or no answer to whether time travel, and therefore such paradoxes, are possible. While general relativity seems to open a door to theoretical time loops through wormholes and so on, the exotic matter and energy conditions required for such structures to truly exist, well, those are far, far beyond our current technology and understanding. If you enjoy mind-bending topics that push the boundaries of time and the universe like the Bootstrap Paradox, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell, okay? And what do you think? Could the Bootstrap Paradox be real? Could such unoriginated objects and information truly exist? Be sure to share your thoughts and crazy theories with us in the comments. So, to sum up, the Bootstrap Paradox is one of the most confusing yet thought-provoking ideas that comes to mind when we talk about time travel. We still haven't fully solved it, but this doesn't diminish its scientific and philosophical value. On the contrary, it makes it even more intriguing. Through this paradox, we question our most basic assumptions about causality, the origin of information, and the true nature of time. Perhaps the answers are hidden somewhere in the complex, unsolved fabric of the universe. Or who knows, maybe some things genuinely were never created but somehow managed to exist. As we leave you with this thought, we once again realize how deep and infinite the secrets of the universe are, don't we?